Good evening, teacher. Today I'm going to talk about the best trip ever. Well, after years of hearing about Morocco's imposing culture and landscape, I finally decided to book a trip. As a Peruvian, I was excited to visit a place so different from my own country. I flew from Lima to Casablanca with a layover in Madrid. After a full day of traveling, I finally arrived in Morocco, ready for an adventure. Casablanca was my first stop, and I immediately noticed how French and Arabic influences were mixed, from the language to the architecture. The main language there is Arabic, although French is widely spoken. Phrases like shukran and salam, which locals appreciated even though my pronunciation wasn't perfect. The language barrier was added to the emotion of knowing a new place, and I was grateful that many people spoke enough English for us to communicate. From Casablanca, I traveled by train to Marrakech, a noisy city known for its little markets, palaces, and gardens. In the heart of Marrakech is Jema El Fna, a huge public square with a lot of snake charmers, musicians, and food stations. Visiting this square was an unforgettable experience because the sounds, smells, and sights were like nothing I had ever seen before. I also explored the Baia Palace, an amazing 19th century palace which shows a lot of Morocco's architecture. One of the highlights of my trip was definitely Moroccan gastronomy because Moroccan food is famous for its flavors and spices, and every meal was delicious. I tried dishes like tagine, a slow cooked stew made with meat, vegetables, and aromatic spices, and couscous with lamb and vegetables. The mix of flavors was delicious and very different from the Peruvian food I used to eat. And of course, I couldn't leave Morocco without trying mint tea, which is served with every meal and prepared with fresh mint leaves and a lot of sugar. Sharing tea with locals was so interesting. The flora and fauna of Morocco were also endless rows of olive trees, which are very common in Morocco and essential to their gastronomy and economy. I also visited the Mayorel Garden in Marrakech, a beautiful like cactus and bamboo. About the fauna, Morocco is the home of camels, which are commonly seen in the desert areas. I even had the chance to take a camel ride in the Sahara Desert, and that was an experience that I will never forget. One thing that surprised me about Morocco was the country's aperture to migrants. Morocco is a multicultural country, and while they always want to preserve their traditions, they also have the initiative of welcoming people from different places, especially with African and Arab communities. I met many Moroccans who were curious about my country, and they were really kind, making me feel at home even when I was far away. During my trip, I noticed several cultural differences between Morocco and Peru. First, hospitality, because it's common to Moroccans to invite guests to their homes and offer them tea, even if they've just met. Secondly, dress codes are more conservative. Then people dress modestly, especially in rural areas, and that contrasts with Peru's more relaxed dress style. Thirdly, religion is a central part of their lives. They believe in Allah, the image of Islam. Hearing the call to prayer echo across the cities 5 times a day was something I'd never experienced before. Fourth, negotiate the price is very common in Moroccan markets, which is quite different from the prices we used to have in Peru. And finally, time is more relaxed because punctuality isn't strictly imposed. There is a phrase in Morocco called inshallah, which reflects the belief that things will happen if they are meant to. Unlike in Peru, where schedules are more structured. As I flew back to Peru, I thought about how Morocco's rich culture, warm hospitality, and strong traditions made a good impression on me. It was a trip full of new tastes, sounds, and sights that I will always cherish. Morocco have shown me a different way of life, and I returned home feeling inspired and grateful for that experience. That's all, teacher. Thank you for your attention.